Hello everyone, a very good morning to you all. So far this is our fourth video for the chemistry of lanthanide elements. In the first one, we discussed about the electronic structure and oxidation state and general properties of lanthanide elements. In the second one, we discussed about the magnetic properties, which is the magnetic properties of chemistry of lanthanide elements is not mentioned in your syllabus, but we have covered it because I have seen in earlier question papers, other year question papers, that there is a question about the magnetic properties, so that's why we have covered it. In the third video, we discussed about the ionic radii and lanthanide contraction. So this is our fourth video where we'll be discussing about the complex formation tendency of lanthanides. So the complex formation tendency of the lanthanides, let's get started. Let's get to the notes. So here we have the notes. So this complex formation tendency of lanthanide generally from this part you may be asked about the question type from this portion, especially from today's video, is going to be like write a short note on the complex formation tendency of the lanthanides. There will be one word, one mark question asking about the structure of some of the I'll be mentioning some of the complexes which are important, and generally this portion is just like you have to mug it up, you have to memorize it as it is. There is nothing much to understand in this section in today's video, so let's get started. I have noted all the important points about the complex formation tendency of lanthanides. So lanthanides in general have high charge. This we have already discussed that there is a +2, +3. General, the most common oxidation state is +3, and they also exhibit +2 in addition to +4 also. But sizes of lanthanides is also very large. So charge to size ratio is low. So that is why they have little tendency to form complexes. Not much complexes of lanthanides are known. Second important point about the complex formation tendency of lanthanides is that complexes of lanthanides with unidentate ligands are very few. These lanthanides generally form complexes with fluorine and oxygen donor ligands. Uh, Also, these form complexes with chelating ligands such as beta-diketone. This is the structure of beta-diketone. Oximes, where if we replace this hydrogen by the R group, if it is hydrogen, it is going to be aldoxime, and if it is R group, that is some alkyl group, it is going to be ketoxime. EDTA, this is a very well-known structure. EDTA you all know very well. So these are some of the chelating ligands with which lanthanides form complex alpha-alpha dipyridyl. This is a structure of alpha-alpha dipyridyl and hydroxycarboxylic acids like citric acid. This is a structure for citric acid. So these complexes exhibit high coordination number with additional solvent molecules attached to central atom. Actually, in case of lanthanide elements, the coordination number is high. Not much of these ligands are present. If these ligands are present, as say in small numbers, that like 3 or 4 these ligands are present, and rest of the coordination number will be satisfied by the solvent molecules in case of complexes of lanthanide. Beta-diketone complexes of europium and PR3 positive dissolved in organic solvents are used as lanthanide shift reagents. Now, what are lanthanide shift reagents? The beta-diketone complexes of EU3 positive and PR3 positive are used as lanthanide shift reagents in NMR spectroscopy. So, in case of NMR spectroscopy, these beta-diketone complexes of these two lanthanides are used as lanthanide shift reagents. So what are lanthanide shift reagents? These are the paramagnetic compounds which induce, as we have discussed, that most of the compounds, most of the complexes, or most of the ions of lanthanides are paramagnetic in nature, except few which we have already discussed. And these are paramagnetic compounds which induce magnetic shift in compounds to which they interact. So they interact with some compounds and induce paramagnetic shift, which is very important in NMR spectroscopy. So this point is important that the complexes, beta diketone complexes of these two are used as lanthanide shift reagent in NMR spectroscopy. This point is important that why lanthanides doesn't form much complexes, because their charge to size ratio is low. And next important point is coordination number of 6 or less is very uncommon in case of lanthanides and only occurs with bulky ligands. As we have already discussed, that complexes are known complexes are very less in number, and also the coordination number of 6 or low are very rare for lanthanide elements. These are only found with bulky ligands. Bulky ligands like 2,6-dimethylphenyl. Here, this is also a bulky ligand. Here it is bis-trimethylsilylamine. So coordination number of 7, 8, or 9 is very common for has this kind of ligands. N is equal to 9 for early lanthanides. 9 is common for early lanthanides. Early lanthanides are the starting ones, and N is equal to N. Here N is the coordination number. 8 or 7 is very common for later lanthanides. This is a complex for FF complex for acetylacetonate complex for ytterbium, and this is for lanthanum. Here it is 7 coordinated, and here it is 8 coordinated. Like we all know its structure, it is beta diketone. So coordination number of 10 and 12 exists for large sized, lighter lanthanides. So which are larger and lighter, as we have discussed in the lanthanide contraction, that size decreases from lanthanum to lutetium. So larger sized lanthanides are the earlier ones, and those will be the lighter ones also, because as we move from lanthanum to lutetium, what is happening is size is decreasing and atomic weight is increasing. So density is going to be increasing. So that is why the earlier lanthanides are the lighter ones and the later lanthanides are the heavier ones. So larger, lighter lanthanides and small, this coordination number of, excuse me. So this coordination number of 10 and 12, which is very high coordination number, this exists for very small size chelate groups like nitro and sulfate. So generally here these two structures are very important. These are the structures for cerium plus 4. Here it is hexanitro complex. Their coordination number is 12, and this is having 4 nitro groups and 2 OPPH3 groups. So these two complexes, these two structures are very important in the sense that here this nitro group is having NO3 negative group is acting as a bidentate ligand. Generally, it acts as a monodentate ligand. So here it is acting as a bident. It is coordinating through 2 of its oxygens, and the negative charge resides on the oxygen, which is not towards the cerium. So this structure is having octahedral arrangement of NO3 groups around it. That these two nitro groups are, one is above the plane of paper and this is below the plane of paper. This is this is a hash and wedge structure. If we can see that these are towards the at the back of the plane of the paper, these are towards us, wedge ones, and this is above one and this is downward one. Similarly here, these two positions, the axial positions are replaced by O PPH3 groups. Rest of the structure is same, and the charge is also very important. These two structures are very common. These are generally asked in the question papers, that draw the structure of these two complexes or draw the structure of give example of any 10 coordination number or 12 coordination number complex of cerium. So these two structures are generally asked in exams. Students generally commit these type of mistakes, that they don't draw the hash and wedge type of structures. They do not make the NO3 negative ligand as bidentate. They do not mention the charge. So these are the things which are to be kept in mind, that we have to draw the structures like this only. This is a very easy structure. Just we have to surround the cerium by 6 NO3 negative ligands via where NO3 negative, each NO3 negative is coordinating to cerium to 2 oxygens, and 2 NO3 negatives are going to be hash form, 2 are going to be wedge form, and 2 are going to be, one is above the plane of the paper and one is below the plane of the paper. So this is how we draw this structure. Similarly here, these two groups are here just replaced by OPPH3. Rest of the molecule is same, and here the charge is 2 negative. Here it is neutral. Next, what we have is salts of organic acid such as citric acid. Here Ca stands for citric acid, OA is oxalic acid, and Ta is tartaric acid. These are the organic acids with chelating ligand. Here chelating ligand is oxygen. These also form complexes with lanthanides. Ligands like ethylenediamine, diethylenediamine, bipi, terpi also form complexes with lanthanides in polar organic solvents. So these ligands generally form complexes with lanthanides in the presence of polar organic solvents. So these are the structures of these ligands. Here, this is ethylenediamine, this is diethylenediamine, this is bipi, this is terpi. So these ligands, these organic ligands form complexes with lanthanides in the presence of polar solvents. So this is the information. This all is about the complex formation tendency of lanthanides. Just if you are asked in exams about the write a short note on the complex formation tendency of, you can memorize some of the points out of these. These are the organic acids के साथ कैसा है, about the with these ligands के साथ कैसा है, हाई कोऑर्डिनेशन नंबर कॉम्प्लेक्सेस के एग्जांपल्स दे सकते हो, साथ में ये दो कॉम्प्लेक्सेस के एग्जांपल दे सकते हो. And you can also mention about the beta diketone complexes of europium and praseodymium. And this is an important point, that they have very less tendency to form complexes. So that would be sufficient to write in a 2 to 4 mark question. So next is lanthanide also form organometallic complexes, including mainly ionic cyclopentadienides as ligands and sigma bonded aryls and alkyls. So organometallic compounds are also known for lanthanides. Next, we have double salt formation tendency of lanthanides. This is a very short topic, that lanthanides also form double salts with corresponding salts of ammonium and alkyl. Generally, double salts are those where two different salts are present in a single compound. Here, this is a double salt. The structure is inseparable. The compound is this is a single compound, but here two salts are present. One is ammonium sulfate and another is lanthanum sulfate. So lanthanides, any lanthanide sulfate. So lanthanides form complexes with generally salts of ammonium and alkali metal salts. Here these are sulfates, this is carbonate. So these are few examples of double salts of lanthanides. A well-known double salt is potash alum. So the structure, the double salt like that of potash alum is not known for lanthanides, because there are 24 water molecules, which would be difficult for lanthanides to coordinate with 24 water molecules. So such structures, just like potash alum, doesn't exist for lanthanides. These are having very less number of water of coordination in comparison to the potash alum. So this is also an important question which is generally asked, which can be asked, that why 24 water molecules cannot coordinate. This is because this large size of lanthanides cannot coordinate with 24 water molecules. These are the examples of double salts of lanthanides. Lanthanides form double salts with ammonium salt and alkali metal salts. So this is all about the complex formation tendency of lanthanides. So that is it for this video. In the next video, we'll be discussing about the occurrence of lanthanides and isolation of lanthanides. So thank you so much.